Hey everybody! I've been quiet because I haven't had anything substantial to say. What I did want to mention before I get into the few comments I have today is that it isn't cool for anyone to be contacting landlords with the aim of making Foodie lose her apartment. I know she's a terrifying person within. Wanting her to never have another pet and getting in touch with her family or landlord are entirely different matters. The latter are not nice things to do, and they kind of put us in the category of psycho. They make us candidates for reaction videos too, don't you think? That's my perspective. I do insist on the point of Chantal never having access to another animal. Okay, so my opinion on the latest isn't as much an opinion as it is a thought to entertain. I don't know if Foodie faked the story of her fainting at the airport. How does a large lady fall from even her small height and not injure her head? Not that I wanted her to have a head injury. That's serious stuff which in no way am I wishing for. It's a genuine question though. Your head becomes limp or you lose control of its motion when you also lose your senses. If it is true and Chantal took too much insulin which made her pass out, I'm wondering, did she experiment with the medication on purpose, creating reasons for her to stay in Syria? Perhaps that's a bit rude of me to pose that challenge. The next question I ask isn't rude at all and valid. Has she perhaps found a new method to remain long-term in Syria? She herself told us she's out of control and behaving in crazy ways. Following her extreme screaming at Salah, maybe she realized she has pushed his final buttons of endurance. So maybe from this point on, she decided to start using her health as justification for her remaining near him. In the meantime, her additional stay may gain his sympathy for her poor medical condition, she hopes. I wonder how Salah will cope if during her medical assessment tomorrow, the doctor says she can't travel, and he must be stuck with her indefinitely. How will they both deal with her regular outbursts and extreme demands in the future? Another uncertainty I have about the most recent developments is how airline employees were able to locate Foodie's luggage among hundreds in the cargo. How were they able to retrieve her suitcase from an airplane that's about to take off? Also, Chantal mentioned that she's very confused about her identity at the moment. I'm not sure I understand why she is struggling with who she is. I would understand if she was having a difficult time processing her relationship, her change of life, but her identity I don't get. If she was truly a Muslim revert, she wouldn't be questioning her position religiously. She wouldn't be feeling eternal pressures to be like the average Western person in Canada if her Islamic faith was deeply rooted. On a point I discussed in a previous video, her rage over Salah's family trip. Today I heard a psychologist say that narcissists will get extremely angry if you go take a decision for a trip without them. They feel abandoned, even if you have discussed with them the travel plans weeks in advance, the expert said. A good example that displays double standard rules of those with NPD is Chantal admitting that she doesn't text people, or even her own family, with promptness. She takes her time about doing it. I'm sure that if a man treated her similarly and didn't respond to her messages straight away, she would go into frantic reaction or rage. Narcissists expect to be everyone's number one priority, especially their romantic partners. Hell will break loose if they feel at all ignored. I'm speaking from experience with a covert narcissist. I would normally respond to his messages very quickly. One time I was with a friend who was visiting from another city, and I didn't answer his text straight away. Immediately he went into reactive mode. He didn't use inappropriate language, but he nevertheless questioned my taking a while to reply. Chantal mentions impulsivity and relates it to mental illness, which can be a valid correlation. I still think that part of her wanting to change her departure from Syria to an earlier time was a way of punishing Salah, according to her rationalization. She thinks she's getting back at him whenever she travels overseas, but she's only punishing herself because she doesn't really want to leave him. At the same time, she doesn't want to change anything about her liberal, provocative and taboo ways. She has complained in the last 2 weeks that his family is involved in everything and that they're always with them. She would have liked to have gone on the 3-day trip with him if it had been only them two. She is quick to forget responsibilities and dependence like cats when it comes to her fun or being the sole centre of attention. Then she has a problem understanding her lack of commitment or care and her self-centered motivations. She used to say while in Kuwait that she had embraced Salah's culture. If we examine below surface level, we will realize that she hasn't. She didn't fully know what Salah's cultural reality was about. She had idealized it, But when the first signs of elements that distracted Salah's focus from her appeared, she started retaliating profusely against his traditions. His cultural identity is one of communal living and extended families. Foodie complains that her husband should have had this in mind when he decided to marry a Western woman. She forgets that their circumstances were different when they were getting together, because their place of residence was supposed to have been Kuwait. Due to her behaviour, their place of stay has now changed to Syria, where everything from socio-political to economic to cultural and lifestyle aspects are very different, where the entire family dynamic changes. Demographically, Kuwait is broad and variable due to the many ethnicities and races living there. Syria is solely Syrian in identity. The bottom line is, and please don't hate me for saying so, I'm posting this not with hatred towards Chantal or with wishes for bad things to happen to her. Because the airport incident aside, she's a person with a lot of physical ailments. I know it has been her own wrong choices that brought her to where she is. I know she's self-centered. I understand she has done some appalling things, and that some are beyond comprehension. The sensitivity inside me still feels partly sorry for her, because she's a terribly unhappy soul, no matter how much she claims food and a man with claim over her give her fulfillment. It would be nice if she could fix whatever is broken inside her and become a better person. It would be nice if we could all do that with ourselves. But sometimes it comes down to wishful thinking only. I won't lie. I find the quick turns in this story amusing, because although predictable, one wonders what Foodie will do next for attention. As long as she leaves animals out of it, I'm good with it. My guess is that she won't be going back to Canada anytime soon. Thank you for listening. Be well.
Stay safe. Stay